And that was a curious one. The Vladimir has definitely been more of a pocket pick towards EDG. They favored it to be a little bit of a counter into certain matchups. So I like the respect that BLG are giving them to them right now. But with all the different options available to you, so the Kalista, the Lucian, the Senna, so many ways of getting this bot lane, the jungle becomes the priority. And when the Wukong is down, you got to go towards the next best thing.
Yep, it's either going to be the Lee Sens or the Viegos, those kinds of things. And this time will be the Viego for Jiejie. But we'll see what BLG want to focus in their first phase of picks here. Usually see maybe the support and ADC pickups here, a little bit more focus on that, especially since we've seen some bans that way. But it is the Kalista, so aggression, the name of the game for BLG's bot lane.
Yeah, you can go Kalista, Renata here. Just a great combination in the bot side. Gives you that early pressure, but also stops any kind of dive potential should you want to go for it. EDG might try and respond with a Lucian Nami, but it is something that has seen a decent kind of counter to, but it would put the priority of EDG down towards that bot side, which we want them to do. Viper is still a monster for this EDG lineup and can still do miraculous miracles with any pick you give him.
I like the miraculous miracles. I don't know. Either way, it's still going to be something to be scared of, right? But there still are some serious power bottom lanes to have here, as we saw the hover of the Lucian Nami can still work out, temper some of that aggression that BLG will be going for, but it's the solo lane focus for EDG as they double lock in the GP and Azir. They say, come at us, bros.
I actually love this from EDG because at the end of the day, they're recognizing, look, if we don't get the Nami and the Lucian, we can maybe go with the Ezreal Karma, we can go with the Senna Tam Kench, Senna Seraphine. We have so many options available to us. We don't need to immediately lock this in. But what it does do is it forces BLG to say, hey, you either want a good mid lane matchup, a good jungle matchup, or a good top lane matchup. You will not get at least 2 of those matchups now because we're going to have 2 extra bans to throw into that. And you would imagine BLG are going to see WeiWei's pool kind of whittled down a little bit, give the Viego a lot more agency, or potentially they try and just get Flandre up and running and say, Bin, you're not getting the Camille and you're not getting something like the Jax.
Yeah, and for this ban phase for BLG, I think it's super important to continue to focus that bottom lane a little bit more. Look for those supports against Meiko, maybe even the ADCs for Viper. I think there's too many options to ban out all of them, though. You only have 2 in the second phase, but the Senna is a great one to start off with.
See where else they want to go for. I would love to see EDG maybe give something towards Flandre. I think Flandre has definitely been one of the underperformers for EDG. They're still 3-1 in the regular season, so they're not doing terribly, but there hasn't been the most ultra convincing wins from the reigning world champions. But no, they're going to go towards those jungle bans. And again, Xin Zhao creeping back into the meta, coming back into something that will just have a better skirmishing time against something like a Viego if left unchecked.
Yeah, and you obviously see the focus for EDG want to dwindle that champion pool for WeiWei even more so. But this is where BLG can put a little bit more focus into the support pool. But no, they go with the Ezreal. So they're going with the Viper side of the matchups, at least in terms of the synergies that EDG are looking to find.
I mean, it's smart, right?
I would say so. I mean, he's pretty darn good.
He's all right. He's a pretty decent AD carry. But again, they still have the Lucian Nami, which he is. He wants to be the best like no one ever was. But BLG, they have left open the Lucian Nami. So they're basically saying to the side of EDG, saying, look, we could only ban 2 of the 3 options. We decided to go with the Senna and the Ezreal. And we're going to basically call you out and say that the Lucian Nami, yes, is very powerful, but we are able to deal with it with the Renata and the Kalista. Now, though, you got to try and get something for WeiWei to give him a little bit of a look in here in the jungle, because there's not many matchups that he can take into the Viego that would actually be able to kind of, you know, deal with him, especially pre-6.
Yeah, I do wonder. I mean, obviously things that he's played before, the Wukongs, the Kazakhs, those kinds of things as well. The Gnar actually comes through for BLG, so they're saving jungle pick for the last pick here, which is not a commonality.
Not very common, but I suppose you already know what the solo lanes are. You already know that you're going to be going into a Gangplank and an Azir, so no real reason to hide your top lane pick at this point if you really want to try and maybe...
It goes better with Viper than 200 years.
I mean, he literally has a skin for it, so they could go Aphelios Yumi here. They could just full on
do it.
They could full on get in the cut, but I think the Nautilus is a little bit better. You want that extra bit of engage. It's something that you're lacking at the moment on your squad. Yes, you have the cannon barrage, but that's just more to kind of set up something a little bit bigger, and the Nautilus is just that.
The lockdown for the Kalista is what's important as well. Just making sure that you can lock them down, get the damage down, and ensure that you're not going to see the crazy dip diving and dodging that Doggo's going to want to do. So the Nautilus, huge pickup for Meiko, really will be leading the engages, leading the charge. This is one pick that was left open here. I feel like that WeiWei would feel pretty comfortable on going for skirmishes against the Viego, and it will be locked in.
Yeah, so both teams kind of locked in. They've got the primary engages. We are seeing a very heavy emphasis on the side of EDG for full 5v5s. You want to get the Azir scaling up, go for those streamer shuffles, and of course the cannon barrage coming down, keeping the Aphelios safe at arm's distance. But on the side of BLG, you are looking for picks. You are looking to get that early snowball going. Use the Ahri to get those charms down, get the Renata to get the hostile takeover to try and stop any of those 5-man engages. So BLG, they have a lot of answers to what EDG have put down. It's going to come down to execution.
But we've seen execution not be the easiest thing for BLG in their past games. I think
no, it has not.
it's a funny point, but it's true, right? And like we have to continue to put a spotlight on this mid lane, the change out icon. What can he really do to reinvigorate this team that Fofo was unable to do? And how does this mid lane fluctuation change the way that they approach the game? And especially in this first one, can they punch up towards the defending world champions at EDG?
Yeah, and again, you got to remember, like, it's the defending world champions, but also Bin is the defending MSI top laner. He is the guy that was swapped out. BLG decided to swap out Breathe for Bin. That was I do believe it was they technically owned both contracts. So they were able to kind of pick and choose whichever one they decided they want to go for. Of course, you're always going to choose the MSI winning top laner over the non-MSI winning top laner. That's just kind of a no-brainer there. But it is kind of how this game needs to function, is that can Bin either, patch up a couple of the issues that he's had so far with his over-aggression, or can BLG maybe step to his rhythm and bring a little bit more life to him?
We're gonna find out today, Oisin, as this series finally kicks off. We have EDG versus Bilibili Gaming, Game 1, starting now. Level 1, level 1, level 1. WeiWei, might want to get out of there, buddy. Okay, the backs
He should be fine.
Does he have the skin? He has the skin. They have the skins.
It's 2.
Yay!
Yep, 2 skins. Yeah, 2 skins. Hello, Bin.
Results-based analysis here.
As we have a look at them there. But yeah, again, nothing too untoward about this. I actually see the fleet footwork coming out from Bin. I kind of like this. He recognizes that Flandre is going to have pretty much perma poke on him with the parlays. Basically on him on cooldown. There's not really else to talk about in terms of that regard, but you will see Icon now going for a little bit of a late invade. So Scout kind of stepping to his beat and seeing BLG, Crisp, and Doggo, who also put themselves down a little ward, so they'll know exactly where Jiejie is starting.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they're able to get the early warding down there and at least help a little bit in terms of trying to figure out where Jiejie is going to be going. WeiWei starting on the top side, potentially could be focusing down bottom lane. Obviously would be a huge boon for BLG to get Doggo ahead early, have a little bit of pressure point that you can play through bot lane, especially with the Kalista Renata.
We'll see what way they want to work with it. I think that if you're EDG, you're quite fine to see a little bit of scaling come in. You get a lot of power from your level 6s. Of course, the Cannon Barrage is huge for you in that regard, and you do really want to make sure you're putting yourself in a good spot to get to that late game. The Aphelios will still be a monster, the Azir, of course, as well, but already we're seeing WeiWei maybe looking for something mid.
He's waiting a long time, but he's trying to find at the end of the line against the wall will be a decent amount of damage, but not enough. Scout gets out without burning anything.
Yeah, it doesn't burn anything but loses, as you say, an awful lot of HP. However, Jiejie is here now. Ooh, the quick draw was quick enough to keep WeiWei from getting caught out there. Now Jiejie maybe looking for something in mid lane, but without that Darush, very difficult to make something happen.
Indeed, and you see bot lane, they have so much priority with Doggo and Chris pushing up the lane. It is WeiWei heading down onto the bottom side of the map, but that means that Jiejie feels confident and comfortable going towards top. Gonna go for those Krugs he knows are there.
Knows that guaranteed to be there. He wasn't level 3, so he knows that there's at least one camp left open, so he's going to get that invade going off for himself. He's already cleared out his bot side, so he knows there's no real way he's going to get caught on this. Bin recognizes as well that he needs to be very careful as he's getting pushed in with this massive waves. They may look for a dive. It would be a little bit risky, but still keeping that ward there just to be sure, And should just be a cramp stolen away by EDG onto EDG. Or by EDG onto BLG, and should just be a pretty easy kind of reset now for both teams.
Yeah, you'll see Jiejie go towards his top side. He still has that whole side to clear. You're seeing pings down towards bottom lane a little bit. Thought WeiWei might head down that way, but he's just going to be grabbing this Scuttle Crab, keeping an eye out on this bottom lane to see if anything can happen, but he'll be fluctuating as it could. I was going to say maybe going towards top lane a little bit, since Flandre does have some decent strength up there, but he really wants to get this bottom lane ahead because it's such an important win condition for BLG.
It really is, and he knows that there's no real camps to take, so he's got plenty of time to try and make this one work. The wave hasn't crashed just yet, and he is sitting in the fog of war, so for BLG, this could be a big moment here. And we talked about how pivotal Viper is and how pivotal Meiko versus Crisp is going to be. Already we're seeing WeiWei kind of echo our sentiments as the handshake misses. They land the hook down on top of Crisp, who has to flash away. Flash forward, though, and is it going to be enough? He will get the bailout, but it's not going to matter. That's going to be Viper picking up a kill. He will flash away, though, as WeiWei was in the vicinity, and that's a good start for EDG in the bot side.
Yeah, they just got their delivery service brought right to them. Viper gets his first kill. It's on and rolling for EDG at this point. We put so much focus on how much of a carry potential Viper is for EDG. The early aggression for BLG, we knew what they wanted to focus. They needed to get something going for Doggo, but it ends up in Crisp dying, and all tragedy for BLG.
Yeah, that is not ideal if you're on the side of BLG. We can have a look at here, and again, it's just Crisp not recognizing if you miss this handshake, you have no tank stats. You cannot go forward like this.
Really unfortunate. Viper just steps up at the worst timing for Crisp. Tries to use the bailout to buy some time. WeiWei even coming in just to try and get as much damage on Viper as he can, but it's too little too late. Still EDG coming out on top now, and Crisp now on the roam looking for something, but also at the same time, Meiko.
You see Crisp already sitting in the vicinity, making sure you can get it. Oh, there's a skirmish shuffle coming out. They will get the Emperor's Divide coming in. Icon was waiting to try and get his level 6. He's
alive.
Almost ticked down. He's alive, but he cannot help Crisp, who saves his mid laner, but ends up taking the brunt of the damage. And this is EDG already starting to build this momentum.
And I feel like that's something we've seen with the Renatas of the LPL. They do die a lot. Like, we get a lot of deaths for in certain situations because they're willing to try to put their body on the line, right? But now you've seen Crisp die twice early game. That puts BLG behind so heavily because it doesn't give you this duo that you drafted for in the Kalista and the Renata.
Yeah, with the Dragon as well, it means that you can't really force the side of EDG going towards those objectives. It is going to be so tough. And we can have a look at the replay here because it is just, again, no level 6 for Icon here. He doesn't flash straight away. I'm not quite sure why he was trying to push for this level 6 so hard.
I really don't. That Emperor's Divide was huge from Scout to set him up. He knew that Meiko and Jiejie were on their way the whole time, and Crisp just has to give his life to make sure that WeiWei can get out.
Yeah, I get it. He doesn't have to use the flash. He gets out with his life, but it does mean that your jungler and your support have to kind of cover for your mistakes. It's a little bit solo queue-esque, shall we say.
Emergency meeting!
Yeah, a little sus. God, I haven't played Among Us in years. I want to play it again. I need to get a group of people playing it again, because you need 10. You need 10 people to play it. It's a fun game, though.
It is very fun.
I couldn't believe how, like, influential to meme and pop culture it became so quickly. Like, it was literally little beans who like kill each other on a spaceship. Like, that was it. That was the whole thing. That was the whole game, and it just became this like phenomenon that's has a battle pass. It has a battle pass now.
I never really liked the actual game. Obviously, like, the social time was what brought me to it, but also just like the funny stuff that can go down at emergency meetings, and like just that whole situation is always so funny to me.
I remember playing it for the first time with Dagda, and Dagda turned around to me afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, I will never be able to do that again. Lying that consistently,
it's
that
awful.
often is exhausting."
It's so
exhausting. He was like, he was like, that was the most exhausting thing I've ever done in my life.
I didn't mind getting caught. I didn't mind getting caught just so I could watch the shenanigans unfold.
It is gonna be. It is a fun game if you're into it. Obviously, not built for everybody.
You know what's a fun game? League of Legends. That's what's a fun game. Playing around the Rift Herald.
Twitch chat? Talk about the game, caster. Press the start game button.
Hey, I've got my nice shiny start button right here. It's beautiful. It's a nice red.
Yeah, you've been pretty good at it. You've been pretty good at it so far. But
my cowboy hat kind of blocked away a little bit for a little bit. It's fine. Ooh, nice.
You might see it engage. Yeah, Meiko does land a hook. They're going to put the cannon barrage to kind of separate everybody out. WeiWei is over the bailout, but that Shurima shuffle was gorgeous to take out two. They'll even catch Icon on the backside of this, who still has flash and may be forced to use it. Yes, he will. But that was fantastic from Scout.
Scout's just brushing off his shoulders here. He don't even need no kills. He's just setting them up left and right. He's 0-0-3, but the most influential player in this game. 9 minutes in, such an early game to be so big in terms of pressure.
And again, you're looking at that was 2 kills to 1. Yes, you get the Rift Herald on BLG, but you got to assume that's about a 320 gold play unless you're getting the full turret. So unless something big happens for BLG, this was not worth it.
It was not. We'll get a replay of that one. Scout setting it up, but it's the try to be proactive play for BLG that ends up biting them. They get surrounded here, and Scout's just waiting the whole time to set this up. He sees them group up. He sees Meiko starting to go down. There you go. Set him up, knock him down.
And this is a big moment as well. We always see this fight around the Rift Herald. The ADC stay bot. Everyone else goes towards mid/Rift Herald. But the difference was Meiko had level 6. Renata did not. Chris was still waiting for that hostile takeover. Still is technically waiting for that hostile takeover as WeiWei has snuck himself in a brush.
He's been waiting here forever.
Thinking about... okay. You're never going to catch Viper like that. You need hard CC. And sadly... the smoke screen is not hard enough.
That's the biggest issue with the composition for BLG. They have this very aggressive bottom lane, but where's their CC, right? You're looking for a bounce into a Gnar ulti. You're looking for a spirit rush into a charm. You're looking for a flash handshake that we've seen not happen multiple times for Chris. It gets hard to find the phase call now for Doggo is really the big thing I'm looking at. But when WeiWei is getting into these aggressive fights, there's just nothing to lock them down. Yes, now Viper doesn't have flash, and you can revisit that. But we haven't seen that come to success for BLG just yet.
No, it really hasn't. And again, this is the problems that we're having is that... Actually, funny thing, this isn't even the main crux of the issues with BLG. BLG's problems come from their mid-game to late-game decision-making, where they just seem to not do anything on the map. Their early game and their laning phase tends to be quite solid as of late, but... it is, unfortunately, the system they're coming into right now means that if you don't get that early game advantage, you're now in a hole. You're now in a really, really difficult position where you're trying to make things happen and you're not used to trying to dictate that pace where you're behind. So 3,000 gold down, a dragon spawning in 7 seconds. This is, again, a very difficult position. You don't have flash available for Icon, no for WeiWei. Bin is going to have his, but with the cannon barrage and with the pre-14-minute teleport, Flandre is just instantly a much more impactful champion.
It's fight night, Oisin. It's fight night. We're getting into something here. Oh, come on.
They're looking for something. They have hostile takeover for Crisp, so I have seen Aphelios destroy their own teammates. Hasn't picked up his first item just yet, so...
BLG are in a bad predicament here, though.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend, as they say, but... EDG, BLG, I don't think BLG can really look to contest this. They're going to drop the Rift Herald for pressure down bot, but this is actually really hard for them to fight.
EDG are fine with this, right? Like, JJ's going to have... BLG are the one that kind of want EDG to be forced into this, but now there's the hostile takeover. JJ's still on the side. Does hit Scout, though, but here comes Icon.
Yeah, Icon does get the Shurima shuffle down. They're going to get the bailout coming in. Can they kill off Viper? No, they cannot. They will launch Crisp at him, though. But look at Scout. Scout's just completely untouched on this, and he's going to be able to chase them all down.
Heartbreaker is still available.
To run away from. Yeah, they could maybe look to Heartbreaker and get some resets going for them. They're even going to get the TP coming in as well. The flash away by Doggo keeps him at arm's length, but he can't go anywhere. And now the resets can really start to come in. WeiWei does not even need to look behind him. He knows his teammates are dead, and that is going to be more killing, more death, and more destruction. EDG left no one alive.
You saw those damage numbers. The Golden Emperor of Shurima comes to town, and EDG coming knocking. This is a huge early game advantage that EDG can just run away with now. They're even getting plates in mid. They're getting the second dragon of the game for themselves. It is all favoring the defending world champions.
This is, again, BLG. I don't know what else to tell you. Bin didn't join in. In fairness, he didn't really have a choice. He hadn't got a ultimate like Flandre, who actually TP'd towards the mid lane. But you can even see it here. It's a 4v4. And honestly, Meiko missing the hook was such a stroke of luck. If he lands it onto Chris, Chris probably dies before this fight can get off.
Yeah, it's a bit of a belated fight. Icon comes in and immediately has to get bailed out instantly. Cleanse comes through from Viper. The Fate's Call does come through, and I think BLG do a good job of following that up, but then it puts them in a position that they can't get out from. And Jiejie has been literally waiting to use this Heartbreaker. Waits till the last moment. Honestly, waits a little bit too long, if I'm going to be. I feel like he could have gone for the resets a little bit faster, but it still ends up in EDG completely dominating BLG.
I mean, there's no reason to take a risk. There's no reason for them to say, look, we don't have to risk, you know, missing out and getting a reset out for the Kalista on the Ren stacks or anything like that, because they know where they're going to go. They can't exactly leave. So might as well get the guaranteed reset on the Heartbreaker. Get yourself your second dragon, 3,500 gold lead. And honestly, as much as I hate to say it, this game is looking already done for BLG. You don't scale like the side of EDG do. Aphelios, Gangplank, Azir. Like, how do you deal with that?
Getting a little bit rough to picture. Also, the CS differentials are not helping them on top of the kills, on top of the objectives. No towers fallen just yet, but you got to think that's going to change real soon. Actually, the adaptation here from EDG has been to fully swap Flandre to mid lane and put Scout in top.
I mean, it makes sense.
Okay, now they're fully changing again.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there's no real reason for them not to do this. Scout is the one with the TP. You don't really need to worry about Flandre at the moment because he's already starting to chunk people out with those barrels. And even with the cannon barrage, how are you going to try and take this tower as an objective when, you know, you're just going to be cleared instantly? So honestly, this is just EDG slowly but surely making the better decisions across the map, getting themselves winning matchups across every single lane. Flandre is not going to use the cannon barrage on bot side because he doesn't want to overcommit, but it ends up being just such a bad trade for BLG. They're going to lose the Rift Herald, the mid turret, and the top turret as well.
Yeah, I think this gold lead for EDG is going to be super hard for BLG to come back from. They're not going to go for the second charge. Or actually, no, they are. I thought Scout might stick around for this, but it's Jiejie, Meiko, and Viper who do.
There's 3 people here. Yeah.
So they're be able to get this. Also TPing. They want to continue to snowball this down.
Continue to go for a bailout. Bye, Crisp. Bye, tower. Bye. Like, this is just destruction, decimation, and absolute just control from EDG.
I think that's the biggest part here. You're seeing the dominance we know and love from EDG. It's something that we have questioned at times here in the summer season, especially like when you've seen their losses, some of the series that they've played in. It's been a few. Oh gosh, this is a question. This is a question, all right? This is a question that BLG are asking Flandre. Can we kill you in the side lane by yourself? It looks like they're going to answer is yes.
I mean, it kind of had to go for something. It's still going to take them an awful long time to do it because he's still pretty good at keeping that health bar up, but he will eventually fall down. That goes over the WeiWei, but you commit a TP for a kill, a single kill. Not exactly the greatest of trades, in my opinion, and you're already 6,000 gold down. This is... yeah, this is, again, it's a silver lining on a very, very dark cloud.
It really is. And I just love the gall that EDG have that say they're in the lead here. They feel confident. We'll go ahead and TP. We'll get the back off. We'll continue to snowball this. And, oh, that last little snipe. Oof, feels so good. And why we always see Viper pick up this Aphelios. Why he's always so dominant on this champion. Why he fills our coffers of clips with this champion. It is actually incredible to see.
Yeah, again, Viper is Viper. It doesn't matter how many things you ban against him, the man will find advantages of his own. And it's why it almost feels pointless to ban stuff against him because you're not really going to gain much value out of it. Charm does miss, so does the root from the side of Jiejie, so Icon not to be caught out by that. And now EDG, 10 seconds till this dragon spawns. They've got Gangplank in top side with himself having an ultimate available, so they're going to pop down the cannon barrage now. WeiWei gets bailed out, only gets sent back down. Yeah, you can't do anything.
You can't.
I'm sorry.
Literally.
You just can't.
It's not as crazy as the first series we had where it just literally felt comp diff, but here it's just hands diff, it feels like.
I mean, Meiko is just so confident as well. They're going to try and jump on the Viper. Eventually will take him down, but the Gangplank is here. Look at Scout taking on Doggo, and yes, you can rend all you like, but there's just nowhere else for you to go. Scout still survives, and a flash comes in. Flandre and Meiko say, we'll join you too. It is a 5-for-1. They committed everything to kill off Viper, and they end up losing everybody.
And everybody's got a kill now for EDG. Meiko getting his own there in the end, and EDG as a whole coming online to a T. 6-0-4 for the Viego for Jiejie. 5-0-6 for Scout. Since level 2-3, he's been important. And here Jiejie might be getting caught out.
I mean, Jiejie is caught out. Jiejie decided he wanted a 1v1. It was not a 1v1, Jiejie. It was a 1v2, and
He's
you
no
shall
longer
die.
unkilled.
So, you know what?
I caster cursed him.
You did caster curse him. You don't go for those wards. But yeah, this is just Viper saying, cool, I'm going to sit here. I've got grabbing him. They use everything to try and disengage, but now it's just like, all right, cool. There's nothing you can do. And then Viper, yes, he's still very low. So you have to try and overcommit everything to try and kill him. You can see Icon goes in. They try and get on top of him. Bin, everyone just commits everything to kill off Icon, and they forget that Scout and Flandre are a thing.
Yeah, Doggo's trying his darndest, but literally just died. The Rend, yes, does damage, but everything up until that point, not much. And Scout able to survive, even with the last auto from Icon. That's a Feels Bad Man moment. And there's Meiko picking up the kill just to ensure it, as BLG definitely still reeling from that last one. They have a little bit of time to recoup themselves. Yes, Baron is on the table, but you can easily sniff that one out, try to get a steal or something along those lines. But it's Dragon that I'm really keeping tabs on the timer for. 3 minutes there. It will be a Mountain Soul for EDG, and that'll just be the nail in the coffin for BLG. You thought they didn't have damage before? Well, just wait until they have a shield. Wait until they have those resistances.
Funny enough, I actually don't think that route hits. I think if Crisp doesn't flash, I think Jiejie just completely misses that route. But it is what it is. We need to look at Scout's items right now. He's gone for full team fight prowess. He's got himself his Rylan's Crystal Scepter, so he knows just by slowing these guys down, stopping them from getting away, the rest of his team can do the damage if he cannot. So, yeah, it's 21 minutes for just shy of it, and Baron on the field, 2.5 minutes till Dragon spawns. This game, yeah, it's all EDG. There's nothing else to it. There's just BLG not really able to make a decision or to make a call to try and make something work, and they're going to try and make it now.
They're trying.
Does knock back Flandre. They're trying to kill him off, but they can't do it just yet. Eventually, he will fall. It's a good hostile takeover, but now WeiWei has been caught between a rock and a hard place. He flashes away, but gets himself hit from the depths, and he gets caught by the dredge line as well. Look at Viper and Jiejie herding the cattle towards their own base and saying, look, you cannot leave. Doggo tries to go forward. There's the Shurima shuffle. It's a double kill for Scout, and Chris will fall to make it a triple. EDG finally showing us the World Championship winning 4.
Meiko definitely watched that cinematic there they released for Wild Rift, because this Nautilus is hooking people like crazy. They are not stopping either. They are trying to chase down Icon. EDG smashed that fight, and they're going to continue until they take down everybody on BLG. It's the full ace coming out. A big momentum that just continues to move forward for EDG. And you said it was over 10 minutes ago. Well, it's definitely over at this point. Almost 10,000 golden lead. This will be Barret buff for the entirety of the EDG squad. They'll reset, get back onto the map. Dragon in a minute. It all works out so beautifully in timing for EDG.
I mean, this is, again, just they have to do something. They commit so much to try and catch out Flandre, but look how long he survives. Despite getting caught out, having the cannon barrage down means that Crisp is already basically dead. They have to use the Fate's Call so defensively. And then WeiWei is completely separated from his team. It's a fight on two fronts. It's a 2v4 in favor of BLG. But look at their health bars. They can't walk over, and then they just fully commit to Viper.
Viper's
but at that
terrifying.
point, Yeah, but at that point, Viper's not even the one you should be terrified of. It's Scout on this Azir, who just comes in and shoves them all under the carpet.
Yeah, you see the damage numbers. I think the separation of that fight was huge from Viper, and the slam dunk alley-oop from Scout there with the Shurima shuffle. Always something to be scared of, especially when you're that far ahead. Now EDG still looking for it. BLG are still playing confident, though, here. They still want to look for picks.
They have to. Your Kalista is just not going to be relevant after this point, really, compared to the Aphelios. You're at a nice point where you're okay on the item breakpoints, but this Azir, ooh, Meiko nearly gets himself up with the ultimate. They will get a buck back, though, from the depths, and just back everybody away. But with the Dragon alive and being taken by Flandre, this should be a Mountain Soul. So again, that win condition of trying to burst somebody out, to try to catch somebody out with this, you know, Ahri combination with the Kalista is just not available for you, and they're just being run around the map.
Yep, and you see Flandre's heading down to the bottom wave. They're just going to keep pushing that in, try to get this inhib tower in bottom lane, but it's just a matter of time here. They have about a minute and 20 seconds on the Baron buff. Jiejie's playing pretty aggressive up here, just seeing if he can toy with his food a little bit while they take down these towers one by one.
Slow, methodical, but at the same time, suffocating victory from EDG. Yes, it was not the cleanest. They did give away a couple of kills, but remember, oh, hook from Meiko is good. The Fate's Call's been used as well as the hostile takeover. Chris will just about stay alive, but at what cost? Why? What was the point of keeping him alive if he's not going to be able to join his team to fight?
And yeah, at this point, there does not seem to be much fight left. As it's just going to be a tried and true variation of EDG winning. And it's a slow burn, it's a steady burn, but it's something that BLG could definitely learn from going to the next series or next game.
Bin is just getting chunked out by Viper right now, who's sitting on 2 items, and Bin 2 items himself, but not really the tanky Gnar, who's going to want to try and go in with his ultimate and misses it all completely, flashes away, but still falls down. That is how you end up taking down the Gnar as on the side of EDG. We will see a couple of resets come in, but I'm 99% sure this is so they can TP directly onto a minion and keep it healthy for the turret.
Yep, you got to keep it going as the train don't stop when EDG's in town. Oh, they're still going. There's the Viper plays we were looking for.
Yeah, Doggo gets himself bailed out, goes golden to maybe add a little bit of extra time, but he shall end up falling all the same. They do drag Scout and ruin his perfect KDA back onto the fountain, but EDG are having fun with this one. Crisp, the only one left standing, and even then they want to try and take him out. But at the end of it all, it's 24-9. It's a 26-minute win, and that was just incredible.
Technically, he keeps his KDA because 0 and 1 still same thing in KDA terms. Well, I guess not technically, but it still works out.
Not a perfect
it's
KDA.
Okay, it's fine. You'll take that because it is the domination from EDG that we wanted to see, that we needed to see, especially when you're coming up against a team like BLG who are just scrapping, trying to find something within the season. You have to shut it down, and EDG did just that.
Yeah, honestly, this was exactly what you wanted to see from EDG. There was a couple of things that we maybe said we wanted to see people step up. You know, Flandre and Meiko were 2 of those people. Meiko on hard engaged supports, similar to like the likes of Ming and Crisp. Having him on this Nautilus, it just makes sense. Having that extra hard engage. And yes, the meta right now might be leaning a lot towards the enchanters of the Namis and the Karmas and of course the Renatas, but when you just have that hard engage, it's so difficult in the early stage to dismiss how powerful CC can be, especially, you know, pre-6.
And I think the biggest thing for me was the early game aggression that we saw from EDG, but playing through their win conditions, right? Like setting up Scout early on and knowing to hammer that home. Realizing that Flandre, the fluidity to move through the waves early on, especially when they got the tower aggro, and especially like when they're breaking down bottom lane, they're willing to move Viper, Meiko around. They're willing to change up these solo lanes. They even had, you know, Scout in the top lane dealing with that for a little while. They're quick to pick up resources around the map that BLG just weren't able to do.
Yeah, and again, I think a lot to kind of figure out for BLG. Honestly, I don't really see much else changing in this result apart from, unless we say a miraculous change up of how they played the game, because it's just very disconnected. It's very much not on the same page.
Stability
it's
in the bot lane.
Scrappy.
It's gotta be maybe not the Kalista, maybe something that is able to scale through the rest of the game. Maybe you see the likes of the Ezreal a little bit more stable, a little bit more comfort for Doggo, where it's not going to be necessarily a big snowball potential, but you can't have what happened last game happen. You're going against Viper and Meiko. There's a reason why they're so terrifying.
Yeah, again, it's terrifying. But Scout with a 20 KDA, it is just absurd how much he was able to do and how quickly he was able to do it as well. I think
of the highlights.
Yeah, he honestly does. He's going to be all of the highlights if he's not careful. But yeah, it's unfortunate for the side of BLG. This roster is not coming together, and a 1-4 start after 5 games would be dire. Something's got to change, but I don't think it's going to happen in this series.
They did try to change, right? We started this whole conversation of new mid, same problem. Well, those same problems continue to exist even with Icon, and Icon was trying, right? Like you could see some of those moments where he was getting the Spirit Rush in, try to find that quick engage with the charm, but just couldn't do so most of the time. And I think that's the most difficult thing for BLG to attach to this problem is how do you even fix it?
That's the thing. We'll see if they're able to fix it at all or if EDG will be taking a clean 2-0. We're going to send it to a break, and when we return, we will potentially have our last game of the day.